Crime, Wine, and Chaos contains adult language and graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
Here we are, stuck in the middle with you, Chaos Kids. I'm Naomi.
I'm Amber. This is Crime, Wine, and Chaos. Oh, man. Clowns to the left, jokers to the right. You know?
I do know.
Wow,
I
sister.
do know. Hi, sister.
It's a banger. Hi. What's new?
Not a whole lot. Yeah, not a whole lot. Not a lot to report. I've been, pretty low key. It's been low key for a while, but I've been doing a lot of coloring.
Stop it. God,
the mandalas. I get like obsessive and like I just color as I have a show on in the background and I color and
do you do
I've been
anything?
posting on our TikTok.
I know.
I've been posting on our TikTok every day. That's my goal right now is like a post a day. And the one I posted yesterday got covered up with the like sensitive warning.
Why?
I don't know, because I've definitely posted things more sensitive than that, but it was the clip from the Randonautica episode about the part where the TikTokers find the suitcases.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that was spooky.
So it's got like 21 views because they're not pushing. TikTok will not push it out. And I can't figure it out because there are definitely true crime accounts on TikTok, and these videos get tens of thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of views. So it's not like TikTok doesn't push true crime content. So
right.
I don't understand. TikTok just doesn't like us.
Well, if somebody knows, let us know. Oh, the only little fun news was we got that really sweet message on Instagram, which it still exists. We keep telling you that it's going to not, but thank God it did, because from a listener who wanted to know about Seattle food.
Oh, right.
I loved that so much. So I want to
really
know.
sweet.
Yeah. I want to find out from him how his Dick's Burgers turned out, if he ended up making
Oh,
them.
yeah. Now you make me want to, I got to go. There's a Dick's like 7 minutes from my house. I know. You know what? It was chaotic. Bye.
Oh my God.
Dick's Deluxe, side of fries and chocolate shake.
Yeah, I got the fixins to do an at-home Dick's Deluxe. I'm going to try the recipe too and see if it measures up.
Okay. Well, let me know. Let me know how that goes. And let me know when you make it. I'll come over and I'll taste test it for you.
Okay. Yeah. What were you doing in my neck of the woods Tuesday?
Oh, I went and met up for coffee with a friend over in Lake Greenwood-ish, Green Lake Greenwood area. And when I went to leave, it was like the beginning of rush hour. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the long way home and take the back road so I don't have to sit on the freeways. And so I did the go around the lake version of getting back to Redmond instead of across the lake version. So I drove right up. So,
damn it.
You can bleep that out later, Amber. I didn't mean to tell everybody what street you live on.
Oh, shit. No kidding.
Anyway, what's new with you? What's going on? You're going to make some Dick's Deluxe? I'm coming over. When are we doing this?
I'm not sure. Sometime soon. I'll let you know. And Pronto Pups is also on the menu this week because,
Yes, it is.
What?
Yes.
Did you not? I don't understand what just happened.
Pronto Pups just happened. When am I coming over? We're having both Dick's Deluxe and Pronto Pups night. Same time.
We're supposed to be two separate meals, but okay. Wow. That was awesome. Have you not eaten today?
I haven't eaten very much.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
I'm going to make some spaghetti after this.
Good for you. Love that for you. I'm just drinking an Izzy because I woke up a few minutes ago. I laid down.
I didn't ask you what you were drinking. I asked you what was going on, but that's fine too.
Okay. Wow. I think someone's hangry, actually.
Maybe a little.
My God.
You know what? Fine. Do you have a crime for me today?
I do.
Is it the one that you sent to the whole family earlier today on accident?
Yes. You know?
Just for the record, I didn't click on it. I didn't look at it.
It's
I
okay.
knew nothing about it.
It's like when I did a copy link for our Indiegogo. By the way, my band has an Indiegogo. Go ahead and look that up. It didn't copy. So instead I pasted the thing that I had on my clipboard before that, which was this.
Okay, great.
So yeah. Okay. So I've been wanting to do this one for a while. This is ripe for chit-chatting about.
Okay. All right.
So I'm going to tell you about Jennifer and James Crumbley.
All right.
Ever heard of them?
No.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so Jennifer grew up in Clarkton, Michigan, which is a small town just outside of Detroit. She was born in 1979, so she's like our age. And she married James Crumbley in 2005. The two seemed really happy. And after getting married, they moved to Florida, which is where James was originally from.
Okay.
James had a son from a previous marriage who was a toddler at the time, and so Jennifer took on the role of stepmom. Friends of the couple described James as pretty passive and said that Jennifer was sort of the one in charge in the relationship.
Okay.
Things weren't perfect, as no relationship is, you know.
Right.
Each of them at different points during their marriage had gotten a DUI, along with several traffic infractions.
Okay.
Jennifer was also charged for writing bad checks. So in 2006, they left Florida and returned to Michigan and settled in Oxford, which is about 40 miles north of Detroit.
All right.
Shortly after, Jennifer gave birth to her first biological child, a son that they named Ethan. So James's biological son from his first marriage ended up staying in Florida with his mom, and he would visit his dad and Ethan in Michigan, but it was sort of known that he and Jennifer didn't get along very well.
Oh.
I think that's so odd, especially considering he was a toddler when she came on the scene.
Yeah.
That's like barely stepmom. That's like almost just like mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I'm not sure what that's about.
How old was he at this point? He was a teenager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that part, it's the teenage years. You're not my real mom. You know, like, you have problems with your parents. It's easy to blame the step monster or whatever.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I don't know.
Yeah. So Jennifer was working as a marketing director for a real estate company. She was the breadwinner in the family. James seemed to have very unstable employment. And at the time that we're talking about here, he was working as a DoorDasher. Because of this, James was home a lot and Jennifer was gone quite a bit. She had a super demanding career. She worked long hours, but even when she wasn't working, she was at a horse barn near their home where she had 2 horses that she was boarding there that she rode.
She's a horsey girl. That's a thing.
I know. No. Remember the horsey girl in our driver's ed car?
Yes. You guys, our driver's ed experience was this. That's stories for another time.
Horsey girl needed to watch the road. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? You be careful what you say about what happened in that car.
Mm-hmm.
You almost killed us one time.
Okay. All right. Well, it wasn't because I was looking at horsies.
I'll never forget it.
Stop it. I thought I almost killed us in the minivan.
No, it was the driver's side car.
What did I? Okay, for another time. Anyway, I mean, okay, so she's a horsey girl. That's a really expensive hobby.
Yes.
And she would be caring for and riding her horses about 3 days a week. She also volunteered at Pine Knob, which was a nearby ski resort, and she would do that every Saturday for about 10 hours.
She volunteered at a ski resort?
Yeah.
What?
Well, listen. So my next sentence is, she was also having several affairs.
Okay.
So probably someone at the ski resort.
With the horse or... No, I'm just kidding.
Somebody at the horsey barn, somebody at the ski resort.
Somebody at the ski resort. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Their neighbors reported that the couple fought often and their fights were loud enough that the neighbors could hear it.
Mm.
By the summer of 2021, the couple mutually decided that they needed to separate. So at this time, Ethan was a teenager and he was described as polite but quiet and not very social.
Mm-hmm.
He worked at a local restaurant as a dishwasher and he was on the bowling team at school, but that was about the only places or things that he did outside of the home.
Okay.
His relationship with his parents seemed odd, even for a teenage boy. And Jennifer once told her coworkers that Ethan was weird and didn't go out and do things like a normal kid.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He only had one friend, and he spent a lot of his time online and playing video games.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That part I saw coming. Right.
Just before his 15th birthday, Ethan sent his mom a text while she was at work asking her if she could come home because he was certain that there was someone in the house. He said that he heard someone walk into the bathroom and flush the toilet and that this person had also left the light on.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. Then he said that he just heard a door slam. And again, he asked his mom if she could please come home. But Jennifer basically just ignored these messages, like she didn't respond to him.
Okay.
A week later, he sent his mom more texts while he was at home saying that the house was haunted, that he had pictures to prove it, that the demon threw bowls and fucked up the kitchen. He said he was going to go outside for a while, and his last text said, "Can you at least text me back?" And again, it seemed like Jennifer ignored him.
She just...
Mm-hmm. So that same evening, Ethan is still acting erratically, and Jennifer gives him some sort of sleeping pill, and he falls asleep in his parents' bed. So no, like, doctor's appointment or conversation or anything, just here's a pill.
Can you imagine your kid is texting you and you're literally just ignoring your kid's texts?
Mm-mm.
Never in my life.
No.
I've never ignored Sebastian for any reason of any kind, call or text ever.
Me either.
He never gets ignored.
Me either.
Not once.
Nope.
Not one time.
Yeah, this woman is something else.
I just cannot fathom it. Like, I literally cannot imagine ignoring my child who is trying to communicate with me.
No. Same.
But,
so, it's starting to make sense,
I'm like,
possibly why the other child isn't a big fan of her.
Right. And also, it's also starting to make sense why Ethan is maybe a little bit like the way he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, weird, according to her.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So in the spring of 2021, Ethan reached out to his one friend and told him that he wasn't sleeping, and he tried to talk to his parents, but they wouldn't listen to him. So he's clearly having like mental health issues. He's trying to get help from his parents, and he's not getting any help.
And now, are they split at this point?
They were.
Or are they still like talking about like, we're gonna split, but they're still living together?
They're still living together. And they were like sleeping separately for a while, but then they decided to reconcile and give it another go. But yeah. So he's texting his friend. He then sent a text to his friend saying that he was having a mental breakdown and he wanted to call 911, but he knew that if he did that, his parents would be pissed.
Okay.
He told his friend that when he tried to talk to his parents about his mental health, his mom laughed and his dad told him to suck it up.
Oh my God. Oh, this poor kid.
Mm-hmm. He also texted his friend that he had only told his parents about the people that he was seeing, but not about the people that he was hearing. I think just the voices that he was hearing. Yeah.
This is sounding kind of like some schizophrenia, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
In August of 2021, Ethan sent a video to his friend of him loading his dad's gun.
Oh, no. Of course there's weapons in the house.
Mm-hmm. He texted his friend that it was time to shoot up the school, and then he followed this text with several JKs. JK, JK, JK. Okay. Trigger warning for animal abuse. He started making videos of decapitating birds.
Oh.
And he even had the dead birds in his room, and his parents never notice. I don't know what these people are doing. So his parents had decided to stay together and work on their marriage. But at the same time, Ethan's grandma and his dog died, which was like a huge hit to his emotional state. Yeah. Ethan is visiting sites on the dark web about murder and school shootings. He visited these sites over 400 times, and his parents never checked his browser history, never checked any of the text messages that he was sending, like nothing. He also kept a journal, and in one entry, he wrote that he is fighting his dark side, and his parents won't listen to him or take him to a therapist.
Is this the parents that...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then on Black Friday, James took Ethan to a gun shop to get him his own gun as an early Christmas present.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Now I know where the story is going.
Yeah. Okay, great. At the gun shop, James checked the box stating that he understood that it was illegal to purchase a gun for someone else. Ethan posted a picture on his social media page of him holding the gun with the caption, "Just got my new beauty today." The next day, Jennifer posted a picture on her socials of her and Ethan at the gun range with the caption, "Mom and Sunday." Yep, go ahead.
I don't have words for this shit.
There's lots of people that do this safely as an activity as a family, but this
100%. This is not that.
No.
You know, I understand that we live in a world with weapons and with firearms. They exist. People have them. People own them. People keep them in their homes. Totally get it. I do not think it is a bad thing to teach children, being minors, about guns if you're going to keep guns in the house, about gun safety, about how to use them, how to not kill people with them, about, right? Like the first rule of guns is treat every gun as if it's loaded, no matter what, right? Like you don't point it at people. You don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to pull the trigger. All these things, right? There's all these safety procedures around owning and handling firearms. And if you're going to own firearms and have children, then yes, they need to understand all that. And there's ways to do all that safely. And yes, going to the range and like shooting with your kids. I get it. Like it's totally outside of our experience growing up, but I can understand that is a thing. But this is not that.
No.
This is not what is happening here. This is a superficial, quote unquote, bonding moment of a very neglected child.
Yep. Okay, so a few days after Mommy Sunday, Ethan got in trouble at school when a teacher found him searching for ammunition on one of the school's computers.
Okay.
The school officials left a message with James and Jennifer about what happened, and they never got a response from either parent. Later that day, Jennifer sent Ethan a text that said, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You just need to learn not to get caught." Later that evening, Ethan recorded 2 videos on his phone about shooting up the school. He didn't send them out. They were just on his phone.
Okay.
So now it's November 20th, 2021. Jennifer and James went to work. Ethan goes to school. Ethan's math teacher passed out a worksheet, but as she's walking around observing the students' work, she sees that Ethan has drawn all over his worksheet, and it is a violent picture of people being shot with the words, "My life is useless and the world is dead," written on it. So,
I mean, this isn't even like cries for help. This isn't even smoke signals. This is like skywriting advertisements on a billboard in Times Square calls for help.
Yeah.
Is what this is.
This is Jesus's blood on the road.
Yeah. Yes. Wait. All caps.
All caps. Red block
giant
letters.
sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, agreed. So school officials called James and Jennifer and immediately set up a meeting with them. And at this meeting, Ethan said he wanted to be a video game designer, and that's why he was drawing the picture. Like it was not like for reals. It was a shoot 'em up game.
Okay.
His parents did not seem concerned and thought this sounded like a logical explanation. The school officials ordered the parents to seek a mental health evaluation within 48 hours, and they encouraged them to take Ethan home that day, but his parents decided it would be best if he finished his school day. So the meeting was only about 15 minutes. They said that Ethan seemed calm, and they did not think it was a problem to allow him to finish the school day. He wasn't suspended or receive any discipline because by drawing the picture, he didn't technically break any rules.
Right.
Yep. But they also didn't search his bag because if they had, they would have known that he had a loaded gun in his backpack.
Yeah. That his mom bought for him for his birthday.
For Mommy Sunday. Yeah. His dad bought it.
Right. I'm sorry. His dad bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So Ethan goes back to class to finish the day. Jennifer goes back to work. And her coworkers did report that she was talking about how she needed to find a therapist for Ethan when she got back to work that day.
Oh, okay.
I mean, now that somebody's making her, I guess maybe she'll do something. At 12:20 that same day, Jennifer texted Ethan and asked him if he was okay. And he responded, "Yeah, I just got back from lunch." Then Jennifer texted, "You can talk to us and we won't judge." I mean, I don't think
What? Since when can he talk to them about anything?
I know. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can talk to them. They won't actually acknowledge you or respond in any way, but you can say whatever you want to say.
We won't judge to your face, but I'll let my coworkers know that you're weird.
Right. That too.
God. So Ethan responded, "Thank you for that. I love you." Right? Less than 10 minutes later, Ethan goes into the boys' bathroom at school wearing his backpack. And 1 minute later, he leaves the bathroom without his backpack and he's holding his loaded gun. He is methodically walking the hallway and just aiming and firing at students as they go by.
Oh my God.
It's so spooky. The other kids running around him and him just walking.
Yeah.
He kept his slow pace and just kept walking the halls, shooting inside of classrooms as he passed by. Several 911 calls came in, mostly from students calling from their cell phones while they hid inside classrooms. And Ethan was taken into custody 8 minutes after the shooting started. He was placed in handcuffs without incident. So immediately the news reports start coming in about a shooting at Oxford High School. And that is when Jennifer sent Ethan a text that said, "Ethan, don't do it." Mm-hmm.
Nope. He's doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
At 1:37 p.m., James called 911 to report that a gun was missing from his home and that he believed that his son might be the shooter.
A gun was missing from his home? You mean the gun that you bought your kid like a couple days ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Black Friday deals. Okay. Jennifer also sent a text to her friend that said, "I wish we had," this is so ridiculous, "I wish we had warnings or something. He's a good kid and made a terrible decision."
I can't.
Uh-huh.
I wish we had warnings or something.
Mm-hmm. Her friend responded, "There probably were warnings, but nobody saw them. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Nobody paid attention to them.
Correct.
Nobody gave a shit about this kid.
Yep. So Ethan ended up killing 4 students. Hannah St. Julian, 14, Madison Baldwin, 17, Tate Myers, 16, and Justin Schillings, 17. He wounded 7 others, including a teacher. Madison was graduating that year and had been offered multiple scholarships to several different colleges. She was the oldest of 3. Tate was on the varsity football team. He was also an honor student. Hannah was the youngest and was on the basketball team, and she also was offered an athletic scholarship. And then Justin Schilling, he was hardworking. He had 3 jobs while in school and doing sports and was on the honor society.
Holy shit.
I know. 3 jobs? God, that's too many jobs.
This was 3 too many jobs for a teenager.
Mm-hmm. Ethan was very open once he was in custody. He told the police that he asked for his father to buy him a very specific gun, which his father did, and that the gun wasn't locked up in the home at all. Apparently, Michigan doesn't have safe storage laws, so the gun not being locked up in the house wasn't a crime. But I mean, it was stupid.
It's very stupid.
Yeah. Ethan pled guilty to a total of 24 charges, and a hearing was held to determine if he was eligible to be sentenced to life without parole as a juvenile, which was required as of that 2012 ruling regarding.
Right.
Mhm. And the judge ultimately determined that because of Ethan's long history and obsession with violence, it made rehabilitation unlikely. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
How old was he? 16? 17?
15.
50?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So just days after the shooting, the prosecutor holds a press conference where she announces her intentions to charge James and Jennifer for grossly neglecting their parental duties and that they were directly responsible for the deaths and injuries caused by Ethan.
Oh, this is where we start getting into those muddy waters.
Mm-hmm. After this announcement, James and Jennifer attempted to flee, but they were found pretty quickly in their friend's art studio in Detroit. With them, the authorities found 4 burner phones, gift cards, credit cards, and over $6,000 in cash. So
and if I recall this correctly, it's like their kid was locked up. They were nowhere to be found through that process.
Right.
And they just went on the run.
Yeah. This was after the shooting and before Ethan went to court. So their mentally ill child is facing murder charges and they ditch him.
And they're on the lam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, bye.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're arrested and they enter pleas of not guilty. They're tried separately. Jennifer went first. In January of 2024, her trial began, and the prosecutor argued that she was responsible for being grossly negligent, not only for getting her 15-year-old a gun, but for failing to get him proper mental health treatment, and that there were many warning signs.
Yeah.
Jennifer tried to blame James for improperly storing the firearm.
Okay.
And of course, the defense attorney focused on the dangerous precedent that this would set for parents everywhere. Both James and Jennifer in their separate trials were each found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. They were sentenced each to 15 years in prison, and they're eligible for parole after 10 years. Judge Cheryl Matthews. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with the defense attorney a little bit on this dangerous precedent stuff.
I agree too. I have one paragraph left and then we'll get into it. So Judge Cheryl Matthews said that the expanded sentence of 10 to 15 years was to act as a deterrent and to reflect the parents' failure to stop the attack. They are not expected to be psychics, but these convictions are not about poor parenting. The concern was that this was a runaway train that could have been halted. The judge said opportunity knocked over and over again, louder and louder, and it was ignored. Okay.
It's like on the scale between throwing parents in jail for like truancy laws and like throwing them in jail for buying their kid a gun and not keeping it away from him when he was like mentally unstable. It's like at what point are you responsible for your child's behavior?
Mm-hmm. I want to know what the standard of proof is too for grossly negligent, because I think that these parents clearly were. I agree with this verdict. I also think it's a scary precedent. And like, who decides gross negligence?
Right.
Like, is it gross negligence if they snuck out and this happened because you didn't put locks on your windows? I mean, like, who draws that line, you know?
Right. Exactly.
That's what scares me.
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. The precedent is set now.
Mm-hmm.
And, what we know is that there aren't deterrents, right? Deterrents aren't a thing, right? So like the judge saying like this will, deter other parents from letting these things go unchecked. Like that's not necessarily true. I mean, the deterrence is always the argument made for the justification of capital punishment.
Mhm.
And statistics bear out that capital punishment or not has no effect on whether or not people murder.
Right.
So like
Mm-hmm.
this sets a precedent that grants the state the right to hold parents accountable for the things that their teenage kids do.
I know. And I often,
And like you said, like who decides that? Where's the line?
Mhm.
What determines gross negligence?
yeah.
I would say that, yeah, in this case, these parents absolutely, they bought him the gun.
Yeah.
They handed him the weapon.
Yeah. And
This
essentially
is-
told him to fuck off when he tried to say he needed help.
Right.
Mhm.
He literally said, I need help. And they were like, whatever. Here's a gun instead.
Yeah. I know.
Like that. And not only that, but it was illegal not only to purchase a weapon for somebody else, but as far as my understanding goes, because I believe it was a handgun, right?
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is that you cannot purchase even when you are old enough to purchase weapons at 18, you cannot purchase a handgun until you're like 21. I think you can only purchase like hunting rifles and shotguns, I think, before
Right.
the age of 21.
Mm.
I think. I know I don't know if that's federal or if that's state by state.
Right.
In Washington state, I know for sure.
It's just so hard because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the negligence thing is where it gets sticky because I always think of Columbine and Dylan Klebold's mom. And
right. I was going to say, like, there's definitely cases where these things have happened and the parents are just literally blindsided.
yeah,
And like devastated, and they're right there with everybody else going, holy shit, that I can't believe this happened, and they're as broken as everybody else
Mhm.
by the circumstances, right? These guys are like going on the run, like what?
sorry, it's not funny, but it's absurd.
Like, there's no it's absurd. It is absurd.
Mhm.
And from what I could tell, like there was no remorse with these people. There was no like feeling horrible for these murdered and injured children.
Mm-mm. Like there were several civil suits filed too, not only against the parents, but against the school. I think mostly for allowing him to stay and finish out the day. I don't know what the result of those civil suits were. I don't know how laws work within the school walls necessarily. I don't know that they had a right to, I don't know if they had a right to search his stuff if he technically wasn't being found in violation of a rule.
Pretty sure that because kids have no rights in this world, I'm pretty sure that when you're on school property that you can be subjected to searches of any kind at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Your stuff or your locker or whatever,
right?
When you're on school grounds. So they probably could have searched his backpack.
Yeah.
But did they think to? Like, my thing is like, because there's other points of failure too, right? Like, how many times did he make jokes to his friends about shooting up the school? They had to know that they knew he had a weapon.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They had to see it on his social media.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody said, hey, by the way, there's a kid at school who might shoot up the school.
No. I mean, it was just his one friend who maybe was just as troubled as him. I don't know.
I know. I mean, I'm not trying to lay blame on anyone else's door, but man, this case is just wild.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, sister, thanks. I hated it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hated that.
Okay.
How about we go into another I hated it story?
Okay.
That sound good to you?
I mean, define good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is what the Chaos Kids ordered.
Oh.
Okay? That's what they're here for.
Mhm.
So I'm going to tell you about the suspicious death of Lynn Messer.
Okay.
Oh, credit where credit's credit. Credit where credit's due.
Silly wabbit.
This came to me as a suggestion from a dear friend of mine, friend of the pod, creator of the art for the pod, Joshua.
Okay.
So that's how I stumbled upon this story. So Lynn Messer, born June 4th, 1962, lived with her husband, Carrie Messer, in Bloomsdale, Missouri. They owned a farmhouse on 250 acres of farmland. Lynn and Carrie were very religious and raised in the church, active members in their church. And except for a brief period of time when they lived in St. Louis, they had attended the same church almost their entire lives.
Wow.
The First Baptist Church Festus.
Festus?
Festus.
Festivus with the rest of us.
Right. Carrie was a lobbyist by profession. He served as president for the Missouri Family Network, as well as lobbied on behalf of organizations such as the Missouri Baptist Convention, Samaritan Ministries International, Americans United for Life, and others. Carrie's lobbying centered around Christian-focused issues, things pertaining to anti-abortion legislation, homeschooling, and family values, that kind of thing.
Okay. He's a real Jim Bob.
Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't ever have like a lot of money. I'm going off script a little bit here. Carrie did all his lobbying as a volunteer, basically, and lived off donations.
Oh.
Maybe bribes. Who fucking knows? But anyway, and then, you know, Lynn was working the farm. They had this dream of farm life. They lived in the city for a while in St. Louis, and they ended up, things went sideways. He lost his job. They didn't have any money. Somehow they ended up with this property and this rundown farmhouse that Lynn spent, you know, decades putting together. So in early summer of 2014, Lynn and Carrie, the high school sweethearts who referred to each other as Ma and Pa, had been married for 34 and a half years and raised two sons together, Abram and Aaron. They also had grandchildren. Lynn was in the middle of her annual vacation Bible school that she ran for the church, something she loved to do, along with spending as much time as she could with her grandkids. Lynn had recently broken her toe and had a walking boot that she was wearing when she was up and around, but she was still doing all the things.
Okay.
On the evening of July 7th, a big storm rolled through, and then the morning of the 8th, Carrie woke up around 4 a.m. and Lynn was not in bed next to him. He got up and started looking for Lynn around the house. That's when he discovered that all her personal belongings were still in the house. Her ID, her passport, her wallet, her cell phone, her car keys, and even her walking boot. Lynn, however, was not in the house. Carrie expanded his search to the property, the areas of the farm that Lynn would often be found. She was nowhere to be found, however. He expanded his search even further to the gravel pathways and roads leading to the farmhouse and then the areas beyond and adjacent to the Messers' property. Still no signs of Lynn. At some point, one of their sons was brought into the mix. I'm not sure if he came to the property to help look for Lynn before or after he made the call, but it was one of the sons that called the police to report Lynn missing. At this point, police classify Lynn as an endangered person since she, wherever she was, didn't have her walking boot. This leads police to conclude she must have found herself in some kind of physical danger.
Was it normal for her to be getting up at that hour and like farming?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But we'll get into it a little bit more farther down the way here.
Oh, okay.
So a massive search ensues. Local law enforcement, professional search and rescue, canine units, highway patrol, and even the FBI, they're all brought in to help locate Lynn. Scent dogs picked up a scent trail leading away from the farmhouse the day of Lynn's disappearance. But later that day, Carrie asked his son Abram to move their herd of cows to another field, which destroyed the scent trail. I also read somewhere else that Carrie also did some mowing very soon after Lynn's disappearance, which would also have disrupted a scent trail.
What's he doing?
It's unclear.
Okay.
The official search of the house, the property, and key surrounding areas was conducted by professionals, while areas beyond this were covered by coordination amongst Lynn and Carrie's friends and family. The Messer farmhouse was meticulously searched on that first day and on later dates by both local and federal authorities. There was never any evidence found in any searches of the house of Carrie doing any harm to Lynn, nor any indication of a break-in or a struggle of any kind, which led police to believe that Lynn had not been abducted. Additionally, neither Carrie nor the police believed Lynn just ditched her life to run away, not only because she left behind all her personal belongings, but by all accounts, Lynn loved her life, her family, especially her grandchildren, and was excitedly making plans for church activities, Bible classes, and vacations in the future.
Mm-hmm. And just real quick, they went to bed together. She for sure was there. And he did not wake up to anything in the middle of the night of her getting up, nothing. Just a normal.
That's exactly right.
Normal evening, night, wake up, gone. Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And somewhere I kept reading that Lynn called someone at 11:30 p.m. the night before. I could not figure out who she called, what they talked about, just that she had made a call the night before at 11:30 p.m.
Okay. Huh.
So the initial intensive search led by the police and the official search team was called off after 4 days. The sheriff concluded that Lynn was not on the farm. The searching that continued in the weeks and months after the end of the official search was organized by one of Lynn and Carrie's sons and a son-in-law with the support of law enforcement and conducted by friends and family. This went on for 125 days.
Jeez.
The extensive searches of the property and surrounding areas would eventually cover over 5,000 acres of land.
Oh my God.
Missing person posters were put up all over St. Genevieve County and its surrounding counties, and a Facebook page was set up in order to try and find Lynn. Police sorted through tips provided by members of the public, including many possible sightings that proved to be mistaken identity, but none of the tips provided any useful leads. As hunting season approached, Carrie created a new not-for-profit educational program called Supporting the Herding, which urged hunters, hikers, and other outdoor enthusiasts to be on the lookout for anything suspicious in the woods. His new educational approach was to promote a simple 3-step approach to report unusual items which hunters and others might typically ignore. The 3-step rule is don't touch, document location, report to law enforcement.
That's good. That's pretty smart.
It's always the touching.
I know.
Getting up in there. That's a crime scene.
Getting up in
Feet
there.
out of there.
Yeah.
But Lynn wasn't found. And over the next 2 years, more information would come to light that would make her disappearance even more of a murky mystery. Carrie revealed that Lynn had left behind what some have described as a possible suicide note, except the public would only ever be privy to a portion of that note. The full note had previously been provided to sheriff's personnel, but Carrie said only that, quote, it was some kind of note of finality, but I don't know what that means, and to this day I don't understand it. He also said that the first line was an apology. Carrie explained that the note reveals, quote, some conflicts she was going through, although he did not explicitly state that there was an intention of suicide in the note. The part shown to the public read, quote, I am sorry, Pa, to put you through this. I love you with all my heart. It also came out that Lynn had suffered from bouts of depression for quite some time, as long as a decade prior to her disappearance, and had also tried attempted suicide at least one time.
Oh, okay.
Their son Abram said at one point, quote, after I asked her several times about it, she said, trigger warning for animal harm, I went out to the barn to kill myself and I shot the cats instead.
This seems like odd behavior from somebody who is as, religious as she is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And it just gets murkier. So some people fear that Lynn went somewhere and died by suicide and her body just hadn't been found.
Mm-hmm.
But Abram, the son that we hear from through all of this, we never hear from Aaron. It's always Abram that speaks publicly. He doesn't believe that at all. And he makes public statements about Carrie, his own dad, and how he and others in the family do not believe that Carrie is being truthful.
Oh.
For one, shortly after Lynn goes missing, Carrie is openly dating another woman.
Ugh.
And he claims that just 12 hours prior to her disappearance, Lynn told Carrie that if she died, he should remarry, and that she named this woman specifically Spring Thomas. Some speculate that Carrie and Spring were dating prior to Lynn's disappearance, but Carrie claims that they started spending time together in the fall after Lynn went missing. In an interview with Carrie in May of 2016, where he spoke extensively about Lynn and Spring and the investigation, he claimed that he didn't have a sexual relationship with Spring at all, and that he remained married to and loyal to his missing wife. Carrie says law enforcement has looked into him and Spring both and are aware of how close the two are. Others say that he has admitted the relationship is a romantic one and that he has been misrepresenting the relationship from the start. They also say that Spring has not been cooperating with the investigation at all. Carrie went on to say in this interview that Lynn had no mental health problems at all. She had never seen a mental health professional and that her GP had prescribed her diazepam for generalized anxiety that Lynn sometimes experienced.
Okay.
He went on to criticize police and their investigation, stating that they focused too much on the walking boot because Lynn had broken a pinky toe. Like that was it. And the boot was just a protective measure for when she spent time with the preschool kids at the school or in the show ring practicing with the steers. In fact, it was a 1,000-pound steer stepping on her foot that had caused the injury in the first place.
Wow.
That she didn't need the boot.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It was just protective of her poor little pinky toe.
Yeah.
Another point of criticism from Carrie was that he told police it was quite normal for Lynn to take very long walks far from the property, even in the middle of the night, and the Mississippi River was only 9 miles from the house, and police were too focused on the immediate property and had not searched far enough out.
Okay. Walking in the middle of the night by herself with a broken toe, like I get like that didn't make her completely immobile, but you're not going to go for a walkabout.
In the middle of the night, 9 miles?
No.
So others pointed out that while it was true that Lynn often took long walks, it was odd that Carrie would then wake up worried about where she was if that was the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Carrie also said that he was certain that her disappearance and the note she left behind had way more to do with her faulty hip replacement and pain management around that than anything else. That when she realized that her hip replacement wasn't as effective as it was supposed to be, she was dealing with a lot of feelings about what that meant for what she would be able to do with her life.
What?
Yeah, this interview is wacky.
I'm sorry. Can you read that little segment?
Wacky.
My brain rejected
what he was saying was that she had hip replacements, and one of her hip replacements was like she was having pain in that hip. And so it wasn't the magic fix that it was supposed to be. And she was on pain meds and trying to do pain management on this hip. And she was in some kind of grieving process around what that meant for her abilities because she was, at the time she disappeared, she was 52.
Mm-hmm.
So still young enough,
mm-hmm.
right? And that this was hard on her to understand that, like, with the farm and everything she wanted to do with the kids and the steer, whatever, that like having this bum hip was going to put a damper on her life.
Okay.
This is what Carrie says.
Okay.
So 6 months after this interview was published, on November 1st of 2016, over 2 years after Lynn went missing, a family member, one article said it was a he, another place wrote that it was two of Carrie and Lynn's granddaughters. So I'm not entirely sure exactly who it was, but someone in the family was on the Messer property scouting out deer hunting locations, and they came upon human remains.
Oh.
They were located in a heavily wooded area near the edge of the family's property off State Route DD, about a mile from the farmhouse. Sheriff deputies responded to the call, cordoned off the area, and secured the property. The FBI also came in to help with manpower and equipment to conduct a thorough investigation of the site. Most people were sure the remains would be identified as Lynn because there was an artificial hip and eyeglasses that looked like hers.
That property was searched extensively for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very soon after the remains were located, dental records would confirm that it was Lynn's body that had been found. The medical examiner could not conclude a cause of death, but did determine that Lynn's remains had been out there the entire 2+ years that she had been missing, from the time she disappeared until the time she was discovered.
Well, they had been outside somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of people found it very weird that she had not been discovered in that highly searched location from the very start, and it only added suspicion to the likelihood of foul play on Carrie's part.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly, after Lynn's body was released by the authorities in March of 2017, she was buried confidentially, and her sons were not invited by Carrie to attend this burial.
What?
There is a rift going on in the family.
I guess.
There are 2 Facebook pages dedicated to justice for Lynn. Find Lynn Messer, which was adminned by Carrie and has since blocked even his own sons from posting in it or even being in it at all, where he has posted numerous novellas about the persecution he and the church that he and Lynn belong to have endured by those who believe he's responsible for what happened to Lynn. And he has gone on about Ma and their lives over the years, their love story, her faith, their journey to their dream of being farmers, her dedication to that dream, and all the work she did over the decades to turn a dilapidated farmhouse into their home. He's something else over there.
Okay.
There's a lot of Bible verses and a lot of God talk, and his posts are long.
Oh, God. Okay.
And then the other Facebook page was started by Abram, Find Lynn Messer 2. And over there, they post about the case, the vigils, the articles, and the absolute certainty that Carrie murdered his wife and has yet to face justice for it.
Yeah.
There's also a huge rift in the Christian community in St. Genevieve County. Abram and others have called on First Baptist, the megachurch that Carrie and Lynn belong to remove Carrie from his positions there and take a stand for Lynn, which they have not done.
Mm-hmm.
In a series of blog posts by Holly T. Ashley, she rips First Baptist a new one for rallying around an ungodly man. And in one of these posts claims that Lynn did have mental health problems. And the reason she didn't ever have a diagnosis or treatment was because Carrie lost his shit when a pastor counselor at another church had recommended to Lynn that she seek professional help with a Christian psychologist or psychiatrist. Carrie said, absolutely not.
Carrie needs to join the Crumbleys, it sounds like. Wow.
So in one of Holly's posts, she says, quote, this is quite a few paragraphs. I'm going to read directly from her blog. On Facebook, interviews with law enforcement, and comments made to search and rescue teams as well as family, Carrie has repeatedly and consistently demeaned, humiliated, and belittled his wife during their marriage, during her disappearance, and after her death, even going so far as to make the following statement during her disappearance. Quote, we know Lynn wasn't abducted by sexual traffickers. She's not winning any beauty pageants. And if that isn't enough, there are those pesky sexual harassment allegations against Messer by 2 to 3 women he worked with at the Capitol. Of course, that was justified by those who worked with Messer as being, quote, just a joke. That's how he was. As a matter of fact, Abram Messer was told by Dr. Charles McLean, the pastor at First Baptist, that this issue would not be brought before the church as commanded in scripture, nor would it be brought before the deacon body, stating that's not ever going to happen and that Abram should not speak about the investigation to anyone in the church. Further, this good shepherd sent Abram Messer, a member of the congregation, mind you, an email telling him that he needed to seek counsel elsewhere.
Jeez.
Abram has made many public statements about this stuff and has since left the church he was raised in after feeling betrayed by the leadership there, who have continued to elevate Carrie, his dad, in the face of so much bad behavior. Mm-hmm. Carrie has since married Spring. Lynn Messer's death remains unsolved. Supposedly, Carrie remains a person of interest, but the prosecutor's office won't sign off on an arrest because they do not have enough evidence to make them confident that they would win the case at trial and lose the chance to convict. Mm-hmm. The family is still fighting for justice and calls it a cold case, while St. Genevieve County assures the public that the case is still open and active. Mm-hmm. And that is the case of the mysterious death of Lynn.
Okay, Messer. I want to know about this note and if it was analyzed or if it exists.
So, exactly. There's a huge question mark about whether or not this note is even real. If it is real, if Lynn even wrote it. Like, there's a lot of speculation that whatever Carrie is claiming is this note was actually like he actually wrote it. I couldn't find anywhere where like the police acknowledge that this note existed.
Right.
Even though it was supposedly turned over to them. And it also doesn't make any sense why there's a picture. He posted a picture somewhere. It must have been in the Facebook group, but I saw it in one of the articles of like this slip of paper that has just those 2 sentences on it. Like he's holding it in his hand. And it's like, why are those the only 2? Why is that the only piece of the note that we see? There's somewhere it was somebody claimed that he burned the note, but they way that they said that was like, yeah, he burned it. That's why we can't see it. More like it never existed to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's the note is just this shrouded in question marks and mystery. Like who even fucking knows if it exists? If it was real.
This guy fucking killed his wife.
This guy killed his wife.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. That's terrible.
Yeah. And he's still like, I think he might, I don't know if he's still lobbying anymore, but he was, I mean, and the First Baptist Church Festus or whatever that they attend, I mean, this is like a mega church, right? Like this is like a big mamma jamma, like giant congregation. They're sending people to the Capitol to like lobby for legislation and shit. They're connected to these big Christian organizations.
Family values. Yucky.
Very yucky.
I hated that, sister.
You can thank Joshua for that.
I hated that, Joshua. The last time you did a Joshua story, it was fucked.
It was really bad.
It was really bad. God.
That was the one where he dismembered and burned his parents.
Yep. We don't need to revisit that. It's okay. Well, you did deviate from dead children, so thank you for that.
We did. No dead children, no dead babies. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Dead wives.
Dead wives. Actually, I had dead children this time.
Right?
Sorry. God, what's going on?
She is such a hypocrite, you guys. Jesus fucking Christ.
Hypocrisy.
I cannot win with her.
No.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, sister. Love you. We're on all the things.
That was amazing. That was
chaotic. Oh, we, things and stuff. We've got a Gmail.
Oh yeah, there's things and stuff.
Wow. I mean,
go to the Patreon. You know what? Just go to the Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/crime, wine, and chaos.
Yep.
You don't even have to join the Chaos Kids Club to see some of the things.
Just check it out.
Or you could join the Chaos Kids Club for $5 a month. You get an extra episode every month. You get new episodes drop a day early over there. And sometimes we do virtual wine night.
Right.
We are nowhere near doing another one. We need 10 more people to sign up before we can do that. Get on it. Get your friends on it. Let's go.
Tell your friends.
Club. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Love you. Bye.
Crime, Wine, and Chaos is produced by 8th Direction Records. Artwork by Joshua M. Davis. Music by Paul Abner. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our Patreon page at Crime, Wine, and Chaos /Patreon. Cheers.
Bob. Where did I get?
Because I said Jim Bob.
Carrie. He said, thank you. Thank you for that.